Righto, it's time to create that virtual marketing team to take your business to the next level. Here's how.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, man, flu and all. But you, so much more importantly, are a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. And that's what we do around here. We shine a light on the dark art of marketing so that you can prosper. And we are very lovingly brought to you by the good folk at Key Person of Influence, the world's leading business accelerator program for entrepreneurs like you wanting to become industry thought leaders. And who wouldn't want a piece of that? Hey, big show today, despite the man flu and all. Can I have just the odd sympathy vote? Because I can tell you what, right now around here, I'm getting nothing from family except my dog. Dog loves me. Mr. Charlie Bucket is my dog's name, FYI. I digress. I will do that because I'm high on whatever those cold tablets are, you know. So just excuse any silliness, any additional silliness. Big show. Part 2 of my chat with Sydney tall ships owner David Warne, who I had on the last episode, told us that amazing story and great feedback, by the way, of how he moved him and his family and his business over to the Philippines and is doing amazing things. He's going to take us on a bit of an outsourcing journey so that we can better understand it. More on that in a moment. Got an inspiring marketing quote, well, as inspiring as I can be with the man flu. And I think we'll have a little check-in so we can all feel sorry for one another. As per usual, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing HQ. So let's get stuck right in.
Join the Small Business Big Marketing community and have your marketing questions answered by other motivated business owners, including Timbo, over at crankmymarketing.com.
How do you go when you get the flu? I'm talking to the fellas, really. Do you get the man flu? Does it hit you like a sack of spuds? We carry on, though, because we're tough guys. Ladies do it so much better. So much better. I was a judge at KPI Pitch Fest last night. So that's at the end of their 40-week incubator program, they have a pitch fest where students get to pitch their business and ask for things. I was a judge. You want to know my greatest insight? And I know some of you are listening. You'll know what the answer is if you're in the audience. Tell your story up front. Get people engaged. Too many of the pitches, what they did was they gave stats about themselves. How many clients they got, how long they've been in business, what their turnover is. Don't care. I want to know why they do what they do. I want to know their emotional story real quick because then I buy into what they're saying and then I'm interested in the rest, in the stats. So it was kind of cool. It's hard with the man flu though. Continued my blogging kind of thing of the last week. I wrote another blog a couple of days ago, 10 website tips for small businesses. It's had a bit of traction. It's been pretty good. I sort of mentioned them a few episodes ago when I was doing some net registry promotion, kind of mentioning them bit by bit. I've put them all into one blog post. You can head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and read that. And I've got to welcome all the new forum members, and there has been plenty. You know, if you're listening to this on Friday, August 14, which you may well be, the forum goes up in price at midnight. If you're listening to it after that, it's gone up in price. Doesn't mean you can't join, but I want to welcome all the new members. Some exciting stuff happening. Got some exclusive forum webinars happening. Lukey is running a Facebook ads webinar for forum members. I'm going to be running a podcasting webinar. David Warne is going to run an outsourcing webinar. Lots on. So much value in that forum for so little. Love to see you inside. So that's how my week's been. I hope yours has been a little bit better. You're feeling a little bit healthier. And let's go onwards to the goldfields. Support for this show comes from Key Person of Influence, the world's leading business accelerator program for those wanting to be an industry thought leader. Their 5-step KPI method teaches you how to nail your pitch, publish content, productize your offer, raise your profile, and partner with performers. I asked co-founder Glenn Carlson, what's with the P fetish?
Oh, yeah, I suppose it is a bit of a fetish, isn't it? Mate, I guess we're just a bit obsessed. You know, fetishes, obsessions, we're just business geeks, mate. We believe there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur, and we're all in. We are just all in. And if we find best practices and ideas as a result of what's working for our clients all around the world, we just want to bring it to people. And so far, the best framework that we've found to be able to do that, to really accelerate that entrepreneurial journey in the shortest time, is the 5 Ps. So, mate, get in on the fetish.
KPI, where fetishes rule. For a free hard or audio copy of their Amazon bestseller, visit keypersonofinfluence.com/Timbo. Oh, and a little warning. Don't read it before bed. You just won't sleep. Okay, let's get stuck back into today's guest. David Warne. He was on the last episode. He talked about how he's reduced his wages bill by 90%, increased turnover by 21%. He is now solving the problem so many small business owners have around how to get lots done. He's actually created an entire outsourcing business that we can all use over in the Philippines. It's an amazing, amazing story how he's done it for his own business, and now he's kind of opened it up for other businesses. He's even running tours, which I mentioned last time, of which I'm going to go on one, and you can join me. I'll give you the dates and bits and bobs at the end of this interview. In this little chat, we talk about the limiting beliefs many business owners have around outsourcing, particularly to offshore countries, you know, like the Philippines. He's going to share some killer tips on how to make the start of your outsourcing journey successful, enjoyable, and productive. Gotta love that. Then he's going to talk about these rocking the boat tours where you go out with him for 3 days and he kind of shows you the world of outsourcing. He takes you behind the scenes. Now, I'm going to play you a clip from a video that he's produced to the Katy Perry song, Eye of the Tiger. The words have been changed to reflect his outsourcing story. If you want to see the video, go to the show notes for episode 255. It's quite fun. He's a bit of a character, the old David. But let's play the first 30 or so seconds of this very silly video.
I had red eyes, I was tired, inspired, caffeinated, wired with local employees, always demanding more, a doubt and no lying, but I am the owner and decided to go offshore, and I am the CFO, need to improve cash flow.
David Warne, Sydney Tall Ships, rocking the boat tours. Welcome back to the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Hi, Timbo.
Hey, Dave, I don't think you were passionate enough about this whole outsourcing thing for businesses last time we spoke.
Right. Well, maybe we need to get another podcast going, Timbo.
Oh, mate, your passion is extraordinary in whatever you do. But boy, oh boy, you know, like last episode, we spoke about how you'd significantly turned the Sydney Tall Ships business around, and we started to kind of talk about this whole outsourcing thing in a bit more detail, and that's when I kind of figured, let's do a second episode, huh?
Not only just turn the business around, and that's absolutely fantastic, but also turned our lives around. Because we're just so tired. It was so determined, just so in the minute of the business to turn you're in business for a life, Tim. Let's not forget that fact, right? Some of us lose that component.
Well, working to live or living to work, you know, which one?
Yep.
Okay, so listen, what I want to do now is I do want to have that kind of a little bit more detailed discussion around outsourcing. You know, what are the limiting beliefs? What are the killer tips you've got for a business owner thinking about embarking on it? And then I want to actually find out a bit more about the tour that you're running. So, limiting beliefs, Dave, about outsourcing that you hear and I hear from business owners? What's your top one?
Number one, Timbo, is just the fact that many people anyway, think that outsourcing's only for the big guys, the big Telstras or the big banks. They were in the game much earlier than we are, but SMEs are coming into the market now only in the last few years, I think. But the small to medium SMEs have got the most to gain in this market right now.
This is what is extraordinary, because the world has changed. We're living in this global economy. And what excites me, listeners, is that you and I, the smaller end of SME, we can have a virtual team doing things that we either don't want to do, don't know how to do, don't have time to do. So it really is for anyone. Yeah, David?
Yeah, and it's just limited only by your imagination, Timbo. We've got some experiences with these telcos I've had experiences of frustration, but I have a whole team behind me over here answering the phone calls right now to Australian customers, and they're there simply because I'm able to give them more time. These guys can answer their questions, look after them much better than what I could ever afford to do in Australia.
Just on that whole, I want to get back to the limiting beliefs, but now that we've established that this outsourcing caper is for businesses of any size, you talk about people answering phones, but what are the tasks? What are the jobs that you could outsource? And we haven't got 3 hours.
That's okay. So most people think of this world as reducing costs. I absolutely could not agree more. If you can reduce your cost down, become more competitive in your market, awesome. But I have to say that the greatest opportunity for SMEs is after reducing costs, is building your revenues, building your business, building your little marketing team of yourselves, an alternate source of resources. You're not just tied to marketing companies or many, many small business owners that I know, me included, didn't know that these resources were at hand.
Yeah, well, and if they did, they had some limiting beliefs around them that have kind of kept them from looking beyond the shores of Australia. So, in terms of tasks, correct me if I'm wrong, but broad spectrum of marketing tasks, from editing, copywriting, web development, administrative tasks like having a virtual assistant, data entry through to lead generation, call centre type setups, as well as bookkeeping.
So that marketing component team, that building your business, the emails, the landing pages, the marketing automation process, all of that stuff that takes so much time for individuals to try and get their heads around, done
mind-blowing.
Very quickly at a very low cost.
Another limiting belief, Dave, around outsourcing that you hear?
You get what you pay for. So if the costs are so low with these people, you must, the quality of those people or the skill levels of those people, what's the saying they use, Timbo?
Pay peanuts, get monkeys?
That's it. And these people, I'll openly and honestly, with all my heart, say to you, are as smart, as intelligent. They're hungry. They're as loyal. They're just they learn very quickly because they're so driven, at least equally to anyone I've met in Australia. So
is what you're therefore saying, because certainly a limiting belief I had around this outsourcing thing, is that you can't expect someone who you employ in the Philippines to proactively, even strategically think about your business. Is that true or untrue?
The most ridiculous line that you're like, Timbo, that's embarrassing for me to hear because I live and breathe this now.
Yeah, right.
But I must openly understand that I was once there as well.
Yep.
I have the leaders within these guys come out like their ability to project manage, communicate. I have, 50 or any number of projects going on around me at the moment that I don't need to be. Once you empower people, they understand how you communicate to each other. They own that world and report back to you the progress or challenges or roadblocks. So your time is much more efficient.
One of your great skills, David Warne, is empowering people. And I know you've done a lot of personal development, which you touched on in the last episode. But it's a great skill. And I know that what excites you here and what excites me is this ability to build a team. Because, again, so many people listening going, I couldn't do that because I don't have the resources. But, hopefully at the end of this episode, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Just on that whole pay peanuts, get monkeys, David. Therefore, it's not true. You're saying that's a limiting belief. But what about, a lot of people look at outsourcing as just for repetitive tasks.
It's just...
You're getting angry. You're getting angry.
Yeah, of course. There are horses for courses, and these people are as dynamic as any Australian is. So some Australians want repetitive tasks. They just want to be able to get on with the job and go home at the end of the day. But equally so, there's an equal, just as much percentage of the population here that want to work hand in hand with you. And I have my marketing director, I have my projects director, I have my social media manager, my GI creations team leader. All these people are actively managing their projects with goals and trying to achieve much more in their lives.
Before we keep going on limiting beliefs, Dave, there is... You told me you've had some success with LinkedIn, and any time I hear someone say they've had success with a social media channel, it's like, I got to know more. So what's your LinkedIn success all about?
The power of the groups within LinkedIn, and then building a system, a structure for my team here to maximise that. We're generating 3 to 4 appointments a day from my personal LinkedIn alone, just by reaching out and strategically communicating with those people.
Yeah, right.
But I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it for weeks. So
that's interesting, because I know, like, lots of us, we build those LinkedIn kind of connections into the hundreds, the thousands, and you've figured out a way of using them to generate leads. That's interesting. Have you built something? Is that something you offer, or is that just something you're using for your own business?
Something I offer now, it's a system. It's combining the talent of these people with a system, a strategy, and then working on that to get your goal, which in my case, or many business owners I know, they want leads, they want appointments every day. And we've linked the whole process through from reaching out to people all the way through to the calendar for me and for some of my other clients.
Love it.
So
hey,
simplify the whole thing, really.
Love it. Back to limiting beliefs. Any more before we move on to some killer tips for outsourcing?
One of the things I battled with to begin with is the Philippines is a really dangerous and untrustworthy place.
Is that a limiting belief or a fact?
You know how to get on my goat. These people are warm, compassionate, they're very religious. They're driven by the community and family, and the whole stack of values surround me here that I love very much. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I feel grateful to be in this environment. Feel lucky to be in this environment.
Okay. So how does that impact? Because I certainly know, I hear business owners talk about, I could never send anything offshore, security of my data or my information, my IP. What do you say to that?
I say to that these people will be a branch of your office in Australia. So these people are as trustworthy as any employee within Australia. But thank goodness we also have software, we have structures in place to hold people accountable.
Yeah,
so
right.
there are processes behind the scenes that people are using now, and that takes that off the table. That's not accountants, financial components of these different jobs. They've mastered that problem, and that's what we show on tour.
Right, Dave. I want to kind of my wish for people listening is to open their minds up to outsourcing and actually take a step into it, because one thing that I have seen with all my friends who outsource and my experience with outsourcing is it actually allows you not only to get stuff done that either you don't want to do or you're not getting around to, it also enables you to try things that you wouldn't have tried locally because it was generally going to be too expensive, right? So that excites me. So on the premise that there are people going, okay, I'm ready to outsource, can you maybe give us a couple, 2 or 3 killer tips to ensure that journey is a successful one?
Yep. So number one above all else is, it's easy for me to say, is to build a team. So you can go to eDesk or Freelancer and all those components, and there are individuals there working from home. That has its pros and cons. This world, the secret is building a small team. And you don't have to have a big team. 2-people team to get started. Mm-hmm. And then once you've got a small team on the ground in a structured environment, so that small team helps in regards to HR, payroll, IT. Once you've got that small team on the ground and you learn how to communicate and build and make that team productive, mm-hmm. then you've got an ability to scale wherever you want to go.
What's this team thing? What if I just want a VA?
A VA, well, it's your one-person team. But I've got to say, Tim, if you're going to try to have one person do 15 different jobs, from
good luck.
Video editing to copywriting to building your website, if you can find that, if you can't find that person in Australia, you're not going to find them.
That's really interesting. I had a guest on 12 months ago, Melissa, who owns Clean My Space, and she was saying she had a job brief out there for a human Swiss Army pocket knife. She knew that they didn't really exist, but that, she was looking for that person. I think when I talk to people in Australia about the idea of a virtual assistant, there is this kind of belief, they'll be able to do my editing and my website, my copywriting and my blogging and they'll be able to book appointments. It's like, that's just, why should that person exist in the Philippines if they don't exist in Australia?
Nonsense.
It is nonsense. So your belief is that this outsourcing thing works for businesses of any size when they... I almost see it as you're finding A players in particular skill sets. So if you need someone to do some cold calling, then that person is on your team. Not full-time necessarily, correct me if I'm wrong there, but then, you might need someone to write some content for you. So there's another person who's maybe doing 4, 5, 10 hours a week. And is that what you're talking about? And then they start to talk to each other and know how the businesses run.
It's exactly. So they take on your world, your culture, where you're going, your vision. They become you, and they're actively working towards your dream, towards your goals. Individuals working together. I mean, very importantly, I believe, is having the team next to each other so they support each other, they celebrate together, they have meetings, 1-minute meetings. We have what's called a scrum meeting each morning with different teams, so they're able to work together.
Yeah, right.
Much more productively.
Crack jokes about their boss back in Australia.
Probably, mate. Yeah. They don't. Then once you've got this relationship and you've got trust, it's very open and easy to and fun environment to communicate.
Yeah, right.
Once you've got the trust and once they know that you're there for the long term, and you support them, mm-hmm. like any employee, they'll give you 10 times back.
Love it. Any other killer tips for a successful outsourcing journey?
So I think we might have mentioned, I think the most important thing is it's not only about reducing costs, but it's about building business. And that will be big news for many small SMEs, Timbo.
Yeah, right.
Building your little lead generation team is building your business is equal to at least reducing your costs down. And secondly, or thirdly, whatever number it is, most SMEs, like the big guys, they're taking advantage of some amazing tax advantages when they've got an offshore team. You don't need to be incorporated offshore. You don't need to. There are some extraordinary tax advantages, tax management advantages available here. And once you know about those, they will also make a big difference to your life.
You're geeking me out a bit here now. As soon as I hear numbers and spreadsheety type things, I'm freaking out.
Well, I think if the big guys can legally build structures in place to minimise their tax, to manage their tax, I think the little guys have equal right to do that. And I'm not talking about this. At the end of the day, Australia actually earns more tax out of this, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
But SMEs take advantage of it.
David, one of the things, and we mentioned last week in the last episode, you are you've actually built a business now where you are sharing the resources that you've created for Sydney Tall Ships. You now want other Australian business owners to experience that, which is it's exciting for you. It's a whole new business adventure for you and Alison. Part of that is you mentioned that your foray into outsourcing came about because you went on a tour. 12, 14 months ago, you went on a tour to the Philippines and you saw for yourself what this is all about. Now, I don't know whether every business owner needs to go on a tour in order to start their outsourcing journey, but you've got this thing called, this thing, how disrespectful, you've got these rocking the boat tours. What can you tell me about that? Because I'm actually going on the one on September 21. I'm a bit nervous.
You know, many people, I think some people would know that I have a long history with Tony Robbins. I've spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars taking my employees and my family to Tony Robbins events around the world.
Some would call you crazy, but clearly it's worked for you.
Just because I think it's a thinking, like, and our core beliefs within us determine our future, okay? So why did I Rocking the Boat Tours is designed, I'm particularly focused on, just, I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, dads that have dreams, that want more for their families. I've been there. Their wives who, their children and schooling, and this is why we go into business. Many of us go into business in the first place. Mm-hmm. So many of those guys that I know are struggling right now, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I set up Rocking the Boat Tours because I became a new person, instead of being held, my head being held underneath the water, this world and these people just gave me a new life, a new outlook of possibility. And I desperately want to share that with as many people as I can.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting why. Everyone, as soon as it's a great way to pitch something, this is why you've done that. And for you, it's very personal.
Well, mate, I almost lost my wife and I almost lost my children. Like everything, I was working my guts out for my family, and yet they're the ones I was causing the most stress for every day.
You've taken the extreme, and I don't want to go back over. We talked about this last episode, but you've taken the extreme decision to move your family and the back end of Sydney Tall Ships over to the Philippines. That's not what this is about. But I applaud you for doing that, because you and I share a similar wish, and that is to remove the pain points of small business owners so they can get on with building empires. So I do love it when people go to the extreme. But you don't have to move to the Philippines to start outsourcing, correct, Dave?
I don't recommend it. You've got to you've got to have someone on the ground, or you have to be on the ground to run the key aspects of your business. What makes you special?
Yeah, great. Love it, buddy. Thank you for sharing. No more David Warne. It's 2 episodes in a row. We can't do any more Warne. But if you want to hang out with him, and I think it's a 3-day tour, how do they find out about the tour, David?
Well, that's really nice of you, Timbo. It's rockingtheboattours.com.au, and we go once a month. I just devote 3 days, and then on the 4th day we do a workshop. So it's totally and utterly focused on real solutions for you. No one goes home without a blueprint or a game plan to transform their business. That's my dream.
Love your work, Dave. Thank you.
Cheers, Tim.
So, how'd you find that? You inspired? He's an inspiring guy, isn't he? Like, he loves helping business owners achieve greatness, like he has with Sydney Tall Ships. That's what I love about him. We share that kind of idea of identifying the pain points of business owners, small business owners in particular, and figuring out how to remove them. David's doing that through outsourcing. I love doing that with marketing, and it's just a good thing. It's a good thing to ask yourself as a business owner, what questions, what pain points of your clients and prospects got that you're removing, and talk about that in your copy. Talk about that, when you're talking to them face to face, and they'll go, wow, this business really, really understands me. I digress, because I want to share my top 1 learning from that chat with David Warne. Normally there's 3, but I just think there's one big one here. And by the way, hit David up on Twitter. He'd love to hear from you. His Twitter handle, DW Gladiator. Oh, he's a wacko. So, yeah, hit David up on Twitter at DW Gladiator. Now, my number one learning from that chat, thanks to the good folk at KPI, outsource something you're just not getting done or you'd love to try. Righto? Just embark on that outsourcing journey. I've made that commitment to myself. Why don't you make it to yourself as well and get some things off your plate that you're not getting done, that are weighing you down, that are causing you stress and anxiety? Move on from them and outsource them. And you just might open up an entire part of your business existence that gives you the energy and the space to work on new things. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Otherwise, we just end up on the hamster wheel. I'm going to go on that tour. rockingtheboattours.com is where you can check out that tour, as David says. I'm going on the 21st of September one. I know there's a couple of listeners already booked. And if you've got any questions or you want to just embark on that outsourcing tour, just the whole outsourcing journey, you can contact David through that website. He's also going to run a Q&A webinar at some point for us. So be sure to either be a forum member or join up over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, and I'll put it out on the email at some point. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Would love to hear your thoughts in the show notes for episode 255. If you want something you've never had, then you've got to do something you've never done.
Get on Timbo's mailing list over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
Okay, limping to the finish line. Plenty of marketing gold coming up. I talked to Memory Coach, who's memorised the yellow pages, by the way. Oh, I think that's funny. Plus, Griffo and I get together for an episode of Funny Business, and we talk about how to remain productive during a business crisis, which is not that funny. And we found it hard to find funnies in it, but it's a very helpful episode. We all have crises in our business. Griffo and I give you some strategies to work your way through them. Grab your free hard or audio copy of KPI's Amazon bestseller over at keypersonofinfluence.com/Timbo. If you're serious about taking your marketing to the next level, get inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum over at crankmymarketing.com. And I reckon that's about it. I am now going to collapse in the corner and blow my nose feverishly. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. You're not. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.